Hi friends! So I thought I would begin our YouTube videos by reading some stories from our iReady book. If you remember, before we left school, we were reading two stories and comparing and contrasting them. If you remember, that means finding how the stories are similar and how they are different. Kind of like how we read Cinderella and Yeshin. Today, I'm going to read to you The Ugly Truckling and The Ugly Duckling. So you can either just listen and follow along, or if you want to get your iReady book, that would be perfect. Go to page 376. Okay? 376. The Ugly Truckling by David Gordon. Way out west, a mother truck admired her new trucklings. She smiled at their big round wheels and their strong flatbeds. But one of the trucklings was not like her brothers and sisters. This truckling's wheels were small and narrow. She didn't have a strong flatbed. To make matters worse, two strange beams stuck out from the sides of her body. The next morning, the little trucklings followed their mother, carrying rocks and bricks and wood in their little truck beds. But the ugly truckling could barely haul a small bale of hay or pull a log. All of the other little trucklings laughed at her. "Why do you have 3 wheels instead of 4?" asked one of her brothers. "You'll never be a good truck," said another brother. The ugly truckling was very sad. She was afraid he was right. So late one night, when the sky was black and starless, the ugly truckling sped away. The next morning, she met a tractor. "Good morning," said the ugly truckling. "Who are you?" "I'm a tractor," said the tractor. "Am I a tractor too?" "You're no tractor. Tractors don't have propellers from their noses." "Oh," sighed the ugly truckling, and she sped away. The ugly truckling looked at her reflection in the pond. Suddenly she heard a loud roar overhead and looked up. She wasn't an ugly truckling after all. She was a beautiful airplane, and so she flew away with the other airplanes into a sky full of stars. Okay, let's go ahead and read our next story. The Ugly Duckling by Hans Christian Andersen, retold by Nicole Flowers. And here's a cool piece of information. The author who wrote the original story is Hans Christian Andersen. And guess what? That's the same person who wrote the story of Frozen. Yeah, it's really cool. Once upon a time, there was a baby duckling who looked nothing like his brothers and sisters. His feet looked like big paddles, and his feathers were gray like old dishwater. The other ducklings at the pond laughed at him. They said his quack sounded like a broken horn. So one day, the ugly duckling left the pond to find a new home. Soon, the weather grew cold. Each time the duckling saw a bird, he asked, "Am I one of you?" But the birds told him he didn't look anything like them. The winter was long, but finally spring came. One day, the duckling saw a group of beautiful birds. Their feathers were snow white and their necks were long and graceful. "I know I can't be one of them," the duckling sighed. But one of those birds swooped down to where the duckling sat. "You are a swan, like me," the bird said. "Come with us." The duckling walked over to a puddle of water. That is when he saw his ugly gray hairs were gone, and he was snow white, like the other birds. His neck was long and graceful, and so the duckling, really a swan, stretched out his great wings, and he flew into the sky with his new friends. So I want you to take some time to think about how these stories, The Ugly Truckling and The Ugly Duckling, are similar and how they're different. Okay? I want you to think about how they're similar and how they are different.